So flea season is among us. Can we talk about fleas and some of the products that you recommend to do more of like a natural approach?
Yeah, for sure. Just wrote a newsletter piece about our blog all about fleas and flea control, kind of going over the conventional options. I do think it's important that we know that those options are out there. Sometimes it is appropriate with the chemical flea prevention. I think what doesn't get talked about enough is the understanding of how they work, why they work, if it's topical, where it's stored, if it's systemic, where it's going, why does it last like a month and some products can last 3 months in the body. And then just be aware of the possible side effects of those products as well when we choose to use them. So every pet is a little different, the risk and the strategies that we can adopt. My heart is always that if I don't have to use chemical flea control, I don't want to, because that they are things that can build up in the body and slowly release. And I do think that to a certain degree, those chemicals are always circulating and the body does have to process it. So for many years, I've tried a lot of different natural alternatives and not always had very, very good results. However, I feel like in the last couple of years, I finally got into a groove of figuring out what works, and pretty proud to say that most of our patients, probably more than 90% of the pets here, we've really been able to figure out a way where we can keep them flea-free without using chemical prevention. So yeah, I'm happy to kind of go through some of the strategies that we use. So I always start with this little gadget, the flea comb. So if we don't have one, it is super, super important because sometimes we don't always see live fleas. They're super little and sometimes hard to find, and especially if the pet has black hair, it just kind of blends in. However, fleas leave what's called a flea dirt. They're like black specks that gets left behind. So when we take a flea comb or like fine comb that you go through the hair, then you can really be able to pick out any evidence of flea infestation if there's been fleas. So if you do find the flea dirt, at least your pet is being exposed, and it's important to start some treatment right away. Generally speaking, my first go-to would be the shampoo and conditioner. So I really love this one. I'm so glad I discovered it couple years back. It's the four-legger brand. Revitalize is what I like to use because it has the neem oil and rosemary. Both are really good at helping with flea issues and leaving just a tiny bit of oil on the skin and hair coat to repel. So this is my go-to shampoo, and I usually combine it with a conditioner. This one is apple cider vinegar based conditioner. Usually I will do, if there's active flea issues, you do want to give a bath right away. And if you are working towards getting rid of the flea cycles, then ideally you want to bathe every week until you don't see any more issues. And on the maintenance, especially summertime, every 2 weeks is pretty appropriate. If your pet is out and about a lot, then these are gentle enough that I think you can use them once a week if you need to. So I really like these. Let me see. So, I also discovered this little, oral supplement, and it has really natural ingredients, nothing that's chemical or toxic. And what I find is that because fleas really get attracted to certain chemical signals in the body. So by changing some of those like micro chemical signals, it can help to repel fleas as well. And this is one of the ones that I found to work consistently for helping to decrease, I guess, the flea's attractiveness to that particular pet. Whenever they go out, we have custom made some essential oil blend so that you can roll it on and just put it on the coat or rub in. I like to rub on like the tummy area and the paws because they are closest to the ground. Some of these are really designed so that the fleas really don't like the scent of it. And it doesn't because it's an essential oil blend that needs to be diluted to the pets. I find that sometimes when we use essential oils, we have to be really careful about the quality of oils and what percentage they're being used, because undiluted oils can be too strong. So these we specifically diluted for dogs and cats so that we know they're safe. And then the last thing is diatomaceous earth. So these are food grade, although I don't, for this purpose, it's not something I would recommend ingesting. I usually put it in like the environment, because sometimes fleas can come into the house through like doorways or openings. So it's nice to be able to do a small amount, like kind of in those entryway area. You can put a little bit on the hair coat as well if you're finding issues. So that can be super, super helpful. If you're seeing fleas on your pet already, chances are there might be some in the environment. So it's super, super important that you wash all your beddings and where the pet hangs out. If there's rug or carpet, super important to make sure that's all cleaned out as well. Because once you have eggs in the environment, they can start like hatching and perpetuate that cycle. So not only do we need to treat the pet, we have to make sure the environment is treated as well. Wonderside is a company that makes a lot of good environmental control for pets that are all natural and safe as well. And for environmental control, I really like their line as well. So I think the best cure is prevention. If we can prevent the fleas from getting on in the first place, that would be the best. So use some daily strategies and be on the lookout for fleas. Any chance that they are already, if you find a little bit of flea dirt, chances are they've been exposed. So it's important to start addressing it right away. I will use some flea treatment pills, the most common one being Capstar, if I'm finding that there is a significant flea infestation, and we can always discuss flea chemical control if that's appropriate. But I would say let's exhaust all of our options, because honestly, most pets can be controlled with some natural forms of flea prevention.